there is no use for AI in our industry. Is there a deep-rooted hate for Sanji? Toei fucking hate Chopper at this rate. You know what I mean? My favorite thing is that there is literally no limit. Like, where is my Chopper agenda? That's what I don't understand. But obviously, I think all of us are very much looking forward to animating what happens in God Valley. That's for sure. That's my copium. That's my opium. I survive off of that. Well, I am Vincent Chansard. Lately, I've been mostly working for anime in Japan, and that's actually kind of what I'm known for. So that's me. I liked manga, and one day I was like, no, I'm gonna try drawing manga later. When it was for me to become an adult, I was researching ways to become a mangaka, and obviously there is no real way to be a mangaka in France. And I really bonded with the people in the animation department of the schools, the prep schools I went into. And at the start, what was very apparent, or what felt apparent to me, is that I didn't necessarily wanted to do animation per se. I was much more, at first, interested by character design or artistic development. But after a year or two of trying to do it in earnest, I just realized I had zero. I don't like to use the word talent, but I had zero. I sucked. Let's face the fact. My character design were trash. I sucked at visual. Like, I was not good at anything pre-production related. So I kind of discovered animation at that time. My personality kind of clicked with the animation process overall. And the fact that I was just slightly better than your average art school student at animation made me want to really pursue it in earnest. Damn, I think a lot of people inspired me at different, point in my career. When I was interested by character design, my main inspiration was Nicolas Marley, who was a very famous character designer, notably for DreamWorks. But after that, animation-wise, at first it probably was. I mean, obviously, James Baxter is the GOAT. He probably is the animator who I've been looking up to the most. Andreas Deja and Katy Zielinski specifically have been resonating with me. And it's also crazy because, like, dating villains is just so inspiring, I feel like, as an animator. And the same could be said about Andreas Deja, of course. I've always enjoyed villains more than I enjoyed main cast. You need a good antagonist to have a good main character. You need a good foil to your main character's moralities. No animation school is worth their price. It's just a social aspect of interacting with other young artists of your generation who might have different taste and experience into the art. But you can have good teachers, like you had one or two very good teachers at Gobelin, but ultimately for the price it is, you can very much learn by yourself as well. My CalArts classmate were telling me about how much they paid for CalArts, and it's an obscene amount. It's an obscene amount. Like back then, I think it was $57,000. It's just a stupid amount, and it's absolutely not worth it. Pour la France is very much a movie about like political confusion. Yes, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in that movie. How political confusion can end up putting you in one side political chessboard. What I would say is that it's still a movie that I did when I was still relatively young and relatively young in my personal journey. Today, I would be, if I had to remake that movie, I would be much more violent on one side more than the others. If you talk about like again work condition, specifically relating to the how many hours you have to do for a studio, Japan doesn't have a limitation, or at least legally they should, but in truth they don't. You just need to finish stuff on time, and for that there is no amount of extra hours you cannot make. Where in France, if you stay more than 7 hours in the studio, they will get you to go home, basically. So it's like, it's very much a multifaceted discussion. Comparing the two is hard. If I have to make a very, very generic, simple statement, I would say that in France, it feels much more economically stable. But as an artist, it feels way, way less fulfilling. While in Japan, the animations are really not what they are in France or America, but at least as an artist, an animator, it feels like what you are doing actually makes sense and that you actually have control over what you're doing, if that makes sense. Uh, artistic fulfillment. I was getting tired of working for friends and for people who had no idea, who were artistically incompetent. I'm using very broader terms, but like I remember going to a meeting in France and we spent an entire day talking about how to avoid actually just doing the animation. And I was like, if I use that entire day we used to talk about what we should do to actually do the thing, like it would be done already. Like it just felt like a fucking waste of time. And this happened over and over on so many occasions. And I was like, at least in Japan, like, it's not necessarily a good thing, but like, we don't ask questions, we just do the work. And this no nonsense attitude was kind of what I was searching for when I left France, if that makes sense. And also, I had been privileged enough to be financially stable thanks to the French systems. And so I was like, I already have enough money to survive. I can literally go and do something that's actually fun now. So that's kind of what was my mental state at the time. I mean, it's hard because, like, from an artist perspective, it won't. But, like, artists are not the one in control of the industry, if that makes sense. Or at least not as much as we should. Under capitalism, people who control the mean of production are the people who have the capital, who have the actual money. So these are people who are not artists, who don't understand what's art. And these people don't really give a fuck about us. There is no use for AI in our industry. There is no way to reliably, usefully use it in a way that makes sense and that make work easier, faster. Like basically the rare attempt that has been made at using AI for anime just ended up in the studio having to hire another animator to redo everything the AI did. And it's like, it's it's a waste of time. But again, if there is a random idiot at the top of a studio who is like, oh no, the people who sold it to me told me it was perfect. And I, as someone who doesn't understand art, think it's perfect. So we're just gonna use it. If this happen, it's just like, Like, what can we do? You know what I mean? So it's like this discussion about, is the art going to impact the industry, is much more a discussion about how long will the AI bubble survive, and will it survive enough to brainwash the people who are in control of the industry enough to make them make the terribly stupid and short-sighted decision to replace actual workers with AI. Because, like, you know, we have actual example at the moment, in a moment in time where people are still very much misinformed about AI. We have stuff like the McDonald's Christmas advertisement, and it's trash. It's trash. It's just, it's bad advertising. Everyone hates it. And then you have like a random, completely random, unknown French studio just making a decent, just a decent ad, and everyone is like, this is the best thing I have ever seen. So even if tomorrow people start making slop anime with AI, people are still gonna call it trash, and the people in position of power will realize very fast that it was a bad decision. But at that time, it will just be like, do we double down and just run into the ground, but at least we get a bag right now, or do we actually make or do we go back to how it was before? And here's the thing, I'm not a prophet. I don't know how it will come down. But ultimately, I think there is an appetite for human-made art, and this appetite will never go away. So again, this just comes down to how long will the AI bubble survive. There is not many possible equation to take into consideration, if that makes sense. Like, even if like tomorrow the people in charge of anime run the industry into the ground, everything becomes automated and becomes AI, you cannot create good anime. Like, there is no way. When you want to cut corner, whether you use AI, whether you use CG, whether you use 2D animation, when you want to cut corner and make more money, what you do end up sucking. It's not about the technique you use. It's not about, is it AI, is it not? When you want to cut corner and make more benefit, what you do sucks. It's that simple. Even if like they end up making everything with AI, it will suck. People will still want good product. If tomorrow every single food out there starts sucking, people will still look for a good cook to make good food. It's an equation where there is only three possible solutions, and two of the three solutions basically make you go back to the other remaining solution. It's just like, will people be dumb enough to take the path that make it take more time to go back to the first solution, basically? My favorite thing is that there is literally no limit. You can go the completely abstract route, which is something you cannot do with live action, for example, or you can go actually realistic, more somber route. There is an infinite possibility of creative options into animation, and that's what I like. It's truly an art form that combine multiple art form. Like, it combines cinema and actual, graphical arts. So that's why I love it. Uh, It's not at the top of my list. Here's the thing with me is that like my character sucks. I suck at character design. So I love drawing someone else's character, but drawing my own character is just a pain in the ass. So it's like, sure, one day I would love to try making a series or something, but I'm very, very happy with drawing other people's character. So I love One Piece, but more than One Piece, I have truly bonded with the people of Toei. Like the One Piece team, they are very good friends. And like, to me, I love animation, but the people of animation are equally as important to me. And because I love this team so much, and on top of that, I love One Piece, I'm probably staying until it ends. Yep, yep, I am. Religiously, every week, I get the Shonen Jump and I read it. Yes. Yep, yep, my goat, my favorite Straw Hat. I had one cut once in the Lucci transformation in 1100. I had one cut with him in his disgusting and kung fu point, and that's it. And I saw this cut and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this cut, but I still did it because it's my job. And sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do. And yes, and that's it. That's no, I think I also drew him, but it was for one frame during 957. There is kind of a recap of the warlords, and there is a part where you see a reflection in the flamingo's glasses, and I had to draw all the straw hats for this cut, and I drew Chopper on this one cut. My boy doesn't get anything, so I'm like, what do you think of what white rice? Yeah, I like white rice as well, but like there is nothing like it's just or what do you think of the color green? Like I mean it exists. It's not a bad color, it exists, but like it doesn't do anything for me. So that's Chopper post time skip is and it pains me to say that because I love him so much. I mean he had the one time he had something was in Fishman Island, and after that, yeah, no, after that, he had nothing. My opium is that maybe something happened, and like we have a good Doctor Q versus Chopper fight. That's my copium. That's my opium. I survive off of that. Hmm. A dream sequence. I mean, it much more depend on the director and the storyboard, if that makes sense. Cause like even a scene as random as like random giants fighting the scribble creatures from the kid's dream, if it's well storyboarded, this could be made into something I could be interested in. And it's not the straw hats, it's random fodder background character. So it really depends on like if there is good storyboard, anything can be interesting to animate. But obviously I think all of us are very much looking forward to animating what happens in God Valley, that's for sure. But yeah, but again, like look at Zoro's scenes and look at Sanji's scene in the manga. Like, I genuinely like if you gave me a Sanji scene, maybe I would make him. I would make the camera turn around him. add, you know, explosion and stuff, but at the end, Sanji would still just be jumping or running, you know what I mean? Like it's what we have to work with from the manga. We can add special effect. We can add some flair, but at the end of the day, the scene is still going to be the same thing is still going to happen. It's just going to look maybe a bit cooler. So again, I have no control over who gets to animate what. I'm very much not the person who's in charge of making this decision. Most of the time, I don't even choose what scene I do, except for a few specific occasions. So, but I'm just trying to put myself in the head of people who assign animators. The Zoro scenes are long sequence. Like you have literally half an episode that's dedicated to Zoro versus Lucci. I don't know how we would be able to do something similar for Sanji. Like maybe like if you put me in a room and gave me unlimited time to think about a way to make half an episode out of one of the Sanji scene, maybe I would be able to cook something. But that's, you know, that's not my job. And I don't think we have this kind of time. So I think we just have to work with what we're being given and make choices. Again, I say that as someone who is not in charge of this decision, but who is just trying to understand why things are the way it is. Because I do see the imbalance in, you know, animators. Like if we made a list of animators who've been in charge of Sanji and a list of animators who've been in charge of Zoro, you would see the imbalance. The imbalance in Egghead, you would see the imbalance. If it was any other arc, it wouldn't be the case. But is there a deep-rooted hate for Sanji? Nah, that's cap. I don't think such a thing exists. Plus, like, I'm a Chopper fan. Like, where is my Chopper agenda? That's what I don't understand. Like, there are people praying about where is the Sanji agenda. Try being a Chopper fan. Like, we haven't had one scene in fucking years. What do you mean Toei ate Sanji? Toei fucking ate Chopper at this rate. You know what I mean? Like, this is my take over this subject. Don't become like me. Genuinely, I think people should aspire to become themselves, to become a better version of themselves rather than trying to become someone else. Because here's the truth: you will never become someone else. And I know that as someone who tried to be someone else when I was 18, when I was 19, and you just end up realizing, oh, wait, I'm someone completely different. I have different taste. I have different things I want to do. So I think the first thing you should do is try to reshape your goal into finding yourself, finding who you are as an artist, what you want to do, what are the unique traits of your art. It's just about finding oneself humanly as who am I as a human, but also as an artist. And then the more practical advice are practice, practice as much as you can. It doesn't mean you should kill yourself, take breaks. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You have to be able to keep on doing it over the years. So don't take breaks, spend time with your friends, but practice whenever you can, whenever you feel like it. And of course, feed your mental library, feed your brain, try to see as many different stuff, trying to see as many different artists, not just in animation, try to get inspired by anything you see. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even from like, a physical, biological aspect, there is nothing in a air, how do you call this in English? ARN? There is nothing in ARN that, can encode artistical prowess. You know what I mean? So it's like talking about something that people are born with is just purely nonsensical when it comes to art. Are there people who understand faster and understand things that other struggle to understand? Absolutely. But still, even this, I wouldn't call it talent. Obviously, like when you answer to many interviews, you start worrying about you don't want to always say the same things, if that makes sense. So you always try to come up with, different ways to answer a certain question in order to not, bore the people I talk to and try to have something a bit different each time. And so I tried to, even on discussions like where did I start, I tried to have a bit more of a different approach this time, as I did for maybe previous similar question. But I mean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I'm someone who, as a kid, was very much silent all the time. So learning to be able to speak to people is a skill I'm trying to acquire and get better and better the much more I do it, because I do believe it's important, a very important skill to both be able to transmit information and also be able to not just transmit information, but also just educate people on subject or field and industries that they're not necessarily particularly knowledgeable in, if that makes sense. Our job as an animator takes a very steep toll on our body, and there is not a thousand sports that can help you, reinforce every single part of your body, as well as, stuff like swimming, pole dance, climbing does. And I already did climbing, and I really love climbing, but I'm someone who sucked at dancing for as long as I remember. And I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to finally be somewhat good at dancing. And so I was like, let's do pole dance. Let's do pole dance. I mean, when you don't want to die, when you need to survive and you need sports for that, believe me, life is a very good motivator. Oh, very good, very, very nice. I love the food. Again, I have a lot of my friends here in Japan, so yeah, I do enjoy Tokyo's life, especially because I'm very much someone who live at night, and so having the ability to just go out and get food in the middle of the night is the best fucking feeling. Like we have no weekends, no holidays. It's always you have to work. I mean, obviously, it's not necessarily like there are some days where I just work 2 hours for the entire day and I'm done. But it's like you have to be kind of constant if you want to make the deadlines. Not much. It won't. It actually probably won't impact it at all. I think it's cool. No, I think it will probably be kind of the same. I mean, we're gonna have like half a week more, so like 3 more days per episode. Like, I mean, 3 more days is 3 more days, but it's like I don't think it's gonna change much. It's so expensive. Animation software are so expensive. It's crazy. Better shine bright and fast than overstay on this earth. Even task that seems difficult, you are able to do it. Wow. I mean, I just try to be a decent human being, which considering today's standards, sometimes is enough. Sometimes is enough. Bye and take care.